notice the athletes still wearing the hammer and sickle insignia of the Soviet Union. Never again will there be, well, we shouldn't say that because of the way things have changed in Eastern Europe. But in '96, these athletes are supposed to compete for their various republics. And they come from the Ukraine, they come from Russia, they come from Uzbekistan. It will be a different world at the Olympic Games in gymnastics in '96. Aside, the woman presenting the medals is the Canadian Carol Leatherin, who had the task in 1988 of knocking on Ben Johnson's door and taking his gold medal back. Tonight she gives out silver medals to the Romanians. Pasca 9.512. So the Romanians, if they want to continue their assault on the gold medal, or Bontas will score very highly here.
So far, the Americans have a bit of a setback, counting probably a lower score than they had anticipated on the beam, with Gymnastics falling. But the Soviets, of course, have a little lower score counting than they anticipated on the uneven parallel bars. So it does balance out a little bit, and the Romanians are just in a little bit of trouble now. So he needs to do a good job here.
This is the third rotation of the final group. Four rotations total.
talk about the coveted gold medal, for example, in the all-around. If you look for that athlete trying to get that one single medal, many of them here have a chance to win a few medals. But the record for Olympic medals is held by Larissa Latinina of the Soviet Union, and she has a total of 18 Olympic medals. Unbelievable. I question whether we're ever going to see a performance like that over a number of Olympics ever again.
Bontas looks solid on the beam. She was 8th in the World Championships in '91, but she finished with the bronze medal in the all-around.
She had a few slight bobbles. You can see here the shoulders are a little bit out of line. But she eluded the fall off the apparatus, which would have been the big crucial mistake for the Romanian team. Here's the dismount. Nice, clean, full twisting laid out back.
Will Bontas's reputation help her? Yes, 9.9. So Bontas also moves to the top with the highest scores achieved on the beam.
As Romania's Gina Gogean prepares for her floor exercise, we remind you that we are in the compulsory round of the team competition, which counts 50%. Romania just behind the unified team, with the United States in 3rd position. The big guns, the Zameskals, Millers, Loginskayas to come later on.
There's no question that Gina is definitely living up to her coach's expectations. This will certainly help the Romanian cause.
Until this point, she has scored nothing less than a 9.80. So she has been a team mainstay and a 9.862 on floor exercise. They won't be dropping any of her scores, I don't think, in the team competition.
0.837. I'm looking forward to the women's optionals when we get to see her teammate Tatiana Gutsu's performance on the beam, because we saw her do things in warm-ups that women don't even do on the floor.
That's right. She has the most difficult balance beam routine in the world. That's Tatiana Gutsu of the unified team, who we'll be seeing later on this evening and in the optional routines.
Gina Gogean of Romania now on the beam.
Slight bobble after the jump there.
She was a finalist in beam at the individual event World Championships just a few months ago in Paris, but she had a major fall and ended up placing 9th. But that's not necessarily indicative of her placing. She's a very, very strong performer in beam, one of the finest in the world.
Is here, coming to town in nice style, cruising in on the 3M ship, and she'll be joining us throughout our 8-day coverage on our Triplecast Gymnastics.
As a gymnast, you're so relieved to get to this point in the balance beam routine. Dismount.
her photo is nice and early. That gives her plenty of time to see the ground and a great landing.
Romania's Gina Gogean, and like all Romanian competitors, the inspiration, Nadia Comaneci.
Watch how quickly she goes into the jump. That's very well done. She puts her shoulder a little bit down, which creates a bobble there for her. But she has no pause in between the moves.
Gogean 9.8, and that is the third best score so far on the beam. We'd like to promise you, we can't be sure, but we are quite confident that we will see Shen beam routine during the rotation change.
You hear a lot about Bontas from Romania, but actually Milosovici is actually, I think, a better gymnast. She also has a very, very fine style that is very powerful, and she'll be a lot of fun to watch in the optional competition.
Kind of a nice combination of that grace and power, which is really the perfect gymnast. Very, very high. Beautiful tumbling sequence. Works her way to the corner. That last tumbling pass is called an Arabian front.
Very nice.
Getting ready to show you Vanda Hadarean from Romania at 16 years old. She, when she was growing up, admired the legendary Nadia Comaneci.
John, we've already watched Rosa Galieva, and I mentioned she had a very quick and quirky style. You'll see a real contrast here with Vanda, and actually this routine really favors the taller gymnast.
A reminder that these are the compulsory exercises in the team competition, which count 50% of the total. We have yet to see the Americans. We'll be seeing them this evening. But the Romanians and the unified team represent, along with the Americans, the three strongest teams in the game this year. So Vanda Hadarean with a floor exercise routine that scored one of the highest of the day so far, a 9.825.
In one of the nicest interpretations of this floor exercise, she really pushed the flexibility, not to mention the tumbling lines. There's the ending tumbling pass in Arabian. She holds her leg up high. Perfect ending. Everything well executed.
Vanda Hadarean, part of the Romanian strength here at the Games this year. And now we want to show you another part of that team strength. This is Maria Neculita, one of the oldest members of the team, 18 years old. And again, the Romanians won the bronze medal at the World Championships this past year. The unified team was first, the Americans were second. Here's her vault.
And the difference in compulsories for the women's exercises, they're only allowed one vault. It's a one-shot deal. You have to stick the landing.
As opposed to the optionals where you do two vaults and you get to keep the best score.
The judges are looking for height, distance away from the horse, and also a 90-degree pike in what is called a Yamashita with a half twist. You can see she landed the vault perfectly.
And Neculita's vault score was a 9.85, which is the second highest score so far on that piece of apparatus. Back now again to Vanda Hadarean. 1989, she left her home and family to go train in Deva, a town of 75,000 people, and home, of course, to that infamous and famous gymnastics club that produced Nadia. After the 1989 revolution, it was dismantled and now back in business.
Now, the balance beam was made up by the Czechoslovakians, the floor exercise by the Romanians, the uneven varsity team was made up by the United States, and there are so many great routines here. You basically have to hit all the handstand positions.
And again, since this is the compulsories, you see them doing the same basic routines on each piece of apparatus. Another great score for Vanda, 9.85. Now, Neculita on the floor exercise. This was her routine earlier today. The Romanians and the unified team we've seen so far very crisp.
The Romanians have been doing a great job. I have to believe that Octavian Belu, who is the head coach of the Romanian team, went back to his homeland after the World Championships in '91, especially after he lost the silver medal to the United States. I've noticed all week in practice that he has been paying attention to the smallest details, in particular, all the landings. He's really stressing the landings for his athletes.
And remember, the Romanians lost their legendary coach, Milosovici, to the Americans when he defected in 1981.
Great routine for the Romanian team. They're really putting the pressure on the unified team, John.
9.775. And so the Romanians establishing that they could well be the ones to beat so far here at the Olympic Games. Go. From Romania, 17 years old.
Now there are some definite things you should watch for in this routine. The opening tumbling run is quite simple. It's just a very simple full twisting layout. But what you'll more than likely see from this athlete is she'll take it incredibly high.
When the Romanian Gymnastics Federation experienced quite a few disruptions after the 1989 Romanian Revolution, which in fact closed the National Training Center in Deva for a few months, Neculita was forced to return home to her original training center. Pasca, who claims that American Betty Aquino is her favorite gymnast despite the Nadia adulation.
Absolutely. If she can't get through this competition, if the USA team can still do well, she can breathe a huge sigh of relief going into the all-around finals if she makes it and if she defeats her teammates.
Bontas of Romania, another contender for all-around glory on the floor.
exercise routine.
You said earlier it's kind of unusual that they chose a classical theme and a classical style, given that the Romanian gymnasts haven't typically been that kind of gymnast performing on the floor.
No, they haven't. They're more traditionally a very staccato style.
Well, this is a very important routine from Bontas because she has the possibility, if she can score high enough, of moving the Romanian team into second place in the team standings after the compulsories. Right now, it is the unified team in first, 197.507. The USA in second, 197.007. And Romania in third, 196.807. So Bontas has a particularly fine performance here. Well, we can't do the mathematics quickly enough to tell you exactly what she needs. She has the possibility of moving the Romanian team into second after the compulsory. 5 scores will count, although that does put pressure now because there's no possibility of dropping any of the scores on the vault. Coming up on the beam, Pasca.
That was a very weak mount there. That was that strength move called the press to handstand. You could see her arms were bent. She was having problems having control up to the handstand. There was a pause there in between those moves.
Will be 50% of the team score. This is very critical. This is as critical as the flashy optionals that you're going to be seeing in the next couple days of the team finals.
There's another slight bobble.
That's one of the reasons also, as we talk about compulsories, that in the United States, in judging for trials, for example, 60% of the score is weighted towards the compulsories and only 40% towards the optionals. The USA decided they wanted a good team.
There was a major, major break. She was going into a scale there, and she shouldn't even get credit for that move. She did not complete the scale. We'll have to see how the judges look at that.
And a big problem for Romania here.
Normally a very strong event for Romania. Very weak performance.
You can tell how disappointed she is. She's aware of the problems that she had. Pasca, we watch again.
Here's the dismount, so we won't see that scale again. Not very good height. Pretty good landing.
Now, as we know, if all of the other girls from Romania hit their beam routines, then this performance is really not that significant from a team standpoint, because you throw out the low score and count the 5 best scores.
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see how they score this routine, because in my opinion there was a whole skill that was eliminated from that exercise.
And she has
Romania, same town as Nadia Comaneci comes, Christina Bontas, 18 years old, leading the Romanian team.
Now, this hasn't been a strong event for Christina in the past. She was having trouble on that move right there, a little bit of a form break. In fact, in the warm-up just prior to this routine, she fell flat on her face. In that body position right there.
Really not a great routine, I'll tell you. Let go a little bit early on that dismount, flew a little bit out.
Yeah, you can see the form breaks in that free hip half. Giant to the half turn. Now you see she never quite hits a perfect handstand. That was a better handstand on the low bar. And look at this dismount. Legs apart. Full twist, just a little bit low on the landing.
Score from the 6 judges, a 9-9. What do you think, Gelfie? A little generous?
I think that's an extremely high score. It is definitely not a tenth away from perfection, that's for sure. There were some definite form errors in this routine.
Last session.
player, isn't that right? Married to Todd Zeal, third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals.
One and only.
Well, disaster obviously couldn't get close to you. The score for Zhang Jia is 9.8. 9.8. And again, Grudneva has set the pace for the unified team on the uneven bars at 9.850. And this is Maria Neculita of Romania.
A little short there on that handstand.
See how she hollows her chest on the top there. That's to prevent her from going over, but she almost overdid it.
After the second rotation, Neculita is the highest scorer from the two apparatus that she has been on. 19.625 out of a possible 20.
That was a very safe routine, though. She really wasn't very aggressive. She wasn't flirting with that disaster.
No, that's interesting, because I'm curious to see how the judges are going to score this. This is a very important routine.
You can see right there, she's short of the handstand. She does finish up with a nice dismount, laid out, and she holds on to that landing. So crucial, that landing, because for every step that you take, that's a tenth of a point.
Yeah. It's interesting, Julian, as I said on her floor routine, that when she looks up to Hadarean Szabo, she kind of looks like Szabo, has some of the same facial features, and
she does. She even has a little fluffy bang.
Yeah, she holds her hands on her hips, just like Szabo did all the time as well. Interesting.
9.762 for Neculita. And that is almost a full point, tenth of a point behind Grudneva.
This is the highest score of the meet so far.
You're right, is the first to reach a 9.9 level.
And her sister is better.
Pasca of Romania, preparing to mount the uneven bars. Came into gymnastics in the second wave of what was called in Romania the Nadia phenomenon after Comanic finished second in the 1980 Moscow Games all-around competition.
There was something different in the middle of the routine. That shoot over to Hansen, she flared her arms back. That's an attempt to do something a little bit different than everybody else.
Mirila Pasca, and who does she think, or who does she say her favorite gymnast in the whole world is? You know? Betty Aquino of the USA that we'll be seeing in the next grouping as the evening competition gets underway.
That shows the strength of the United States team. Years and years ago, you'd never hear a European gymnast name an American gymnast as their favorite.
Absolutely. This was a great routine, and this is a good time for her because she's going head-to-head with Fragas of Spain, and as a result, if she does a better job, she's going to get higher than a 9.9 because the judges are going to have to compare the two routines.
9.887. They didn't think it was better. So Fraguas of Spain has the highest score of the competition so far. Obviously.
Welcome back, John Tesh with Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett. As it stands now, the Romanians are just behind the unified team. The United States in third position. This is the team competition compulsories, and this is young 14-year-old Gina Gogean. Balance beam routine.
This is an event where the Romanians had some difficulty at the 91 World Championships. In fact, they probably lost it in the compulsory portion of the competition on this event. This is a tough routine, and the skill coming up right here is one connection that a lot of gymnasts have been having problems with. Right there, that's a major deduction. It's supposed to be very smooth, connecting right down to the balance beam.
Because this is the team competition, remember, the teams can act strategically by throwing out the lowest score on each piece of apparatus. They keep the remaining 5. Total them up. That gives us the leader going into the options.
I was just going to say she cannot afford any other mistakes. Right there, 2 in a row on the split leap and the full turn. She put her foot down right away.
And what happens, since this is a team competition, is when something like that happens, it puts more pressure on the athletes that are to follow on her team.
Exactly right. Every athlete down the line knows what her part is.
Deductions are like 25 100ths of a point, though, but they certainly add up.
Okay, she made up with it with the dismount. That was gorgeous, but unfortunately, she's going to get killed on this beam routine. Here's the connection. It's a cartwheel, changing direction now to a backhand spring. And you can see right there is where she suffered the wobble. She was supposed to connect immediately down to the beam. So the judges could take as much as 2/10 for that mistake right there. And the best part of the routine was the dismount. What she does is she takes it way up in the air, nice stretched body, and she sticks the dismount.
A 9.8 for Gina Gogean. Based on what you said, that might be a little high.
I think that's incredibly high, actually.
Competition. Up next from Romania, Gina Gogean, 14 years old. We've already seen some great Romanian performances earlier today.
I think you can expect great things from this athlete. Octavian Belu is the head coach for the Romanian team, and he said this is his rising star. She did very well at the recent European Championships.
Here's her release right here. Oh, she's got it.
And a beautiful release. You can see right up on the handstand right here. And that's a very important handstand move. She didn't quite hit it in a perfect position.
And you'll notice that these aren't the most daring routines you've ever seen. You'll see those in the optionals. These compulsories, as we remind you, count 50%, and all the athletes do basically the same routines. Remember, the Romanians are leading right now, the unified team.
They're not daring, John, but they are precise